Hi guys, Froggy here. I want to show you something today that I've been working on. I'm going to show you how to build it and why I'm building it and what it's for and everything. If you didn't know, a C5 Corvette gets all of its cooling for its radiator from down below. This is not for cooling the radiator. That's just air that goes into the engine compartment there. That's air that goes to your brake ducts, goes to your brake cooling. It's a duct that goes to your brake cooling. So all the air that goes through your radiator comes from underneath the car, right here. Alright, it goes right in there. The air dam helps direct air up into this cavity. That's not your radiator, that's your AC condenser. Immediately behind that is your radiator. It's all boxed in, you see, on this side. It's boxed in, so everything goes in there. So what does that mean? That means the C5 Corvette is a giant vacuum cleaner. That's right. You drive it down the road, it sucks up everything. Now this is very clean. I just cleaned it. You'll never see one this clean. But what I'm going to do is build a screen that goes across this opening and the other side of the opening. And I'm going to have two screens really. The way I've thought it out, one screen will be like a 1/4-inch mesh heavy screen. That'll catch big stuff. Small animals, Dixie cups, McDonald's wrapper, all that stuff, but it won't really catch the small stuff. Then I'm going to make another screen that goes on top of that big 1/4-inch mesh screen that'll catch small stuff. It's going to be detachable. So that's what we're going to do. What I did first is I took a piece of cardboard and I cut it exactly in the shape of what I want the screen to be that's going to fit up inside that hole. I'm going to fasten it along the front edge. I'm going to fasten it. There's 5 screws. I might use 3, I might use 5. 5 screws that hold the front bumper cover to parts of the body of the Corvette. On the side, the innermost side, or the front of the Corvette is this way, so we're going back in. This is just going to slide into a little sleeve where the fan shroud has a lip basically, and that lip is going to catch this piece here. On the sides, I'm going to put in some of those plastic. They're used for a lot of things on the cars. They're like plastic rivets. They have a little ripply plastic edge to them, and on the end it's like a big washer, and you just pop them in. So I'm going to drill some holes, a couple, 3 holes on each side, and then I'm just going to go through the mesh and pop them into that plastic box that I already showed you. Alright, here's the screen. I started making it already. It's exactly in the shape of the template. It's 1/4-inch, they call it hardware cloth. You get it at Home Depot, you get a roll of it for about $8 or $10. So that has to be in the shape of your template. Now I'm going to go underneath the car and try and fit it in there like I had the template fit in already, and I'm going to see how it works. One other tip, these are little tin snips that I use. They're really nice. They cost about 12 or 14 bucks at Home Depot, and they let you cut this hardware cloth. You want to take the middle air dam off. There's 4, I think they're 10 millimeter. 1, 2, 3, 4 10-millimeter bolts to get that out. pretty easy. Okay, now we're going to try and fit it up. Okay, there it is. Here's the fan shroud lip that I was talking about. It's tucked way up in there, so it can't come out. It's about 3/4 of an inch tucked into that lip, all the way across. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws here holding it up to the front bumper, where the front bumper screws onto the plastic channel that's on the other side. I'm going to put a couple of those plastic rivets that I told you about. One here. I want to get it so that this is up high, because remember, the air dam has got to come in here and it's got to pivot a little bit too. So I want to make sure this is up high here, and one more here just for security. Yeah, I'll probably do 2, about 3 or 4 inches apart. Then I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to cover this with a finer screen, like a regular screen door aluminum screen, that'll keep the really fine stuff off. Then I'm going to have to test it. I'm going to have to see if it overheats. I don't think it will. I think it'll still let enough air through for cooling. Now, if your car is already on the verge of overheating, if it's running hot, don't do this. My car runs very cool, and I just want to keep the dirt out of the condenser and out of the radiator. The dirt, debris, candy wrappers, all that crap. I just want to keep it out of there. If I go to the track, I'm going to take this all off, because on the track there isn't a lot of debris usually, and I want it to be able to breathe really good on the track. Okay, so let me see if I can find some of those little plastic rivets that I want to use. That's what I was talking about. Napa calls them retainers. I call them plastic rivets. So I think we can find something here that'll work. I like this. This is called a push type rivet. It's got a Phillips head screw plastic that you can push in or you can screw in, and it'll expand the other side of it. So this is actually meant to be installed and removed pretty easily. The size, it's about twice the size of the 1/4 inch openings here, so that'll hold it on there real good. So I think I'll use a few of these. What I'm going to do first, though, is pull it out and put the fine screen on there. I'm just going to go for it, because what I really want to do is keep the fine particles that clog up the AC condenser and the radiator. The fine ones are what I want to keep out. The big stuff you can pull it out with your hand. It's not hard. But the fine stuff, you just can't get it out once it gets lodged in there. So I'm going to make a trip to Home Depot and get some of that fine screen. I'm going to lay that over my 1/4 inch mesh and then put the whole thing back up there. So I'll be back in a little bit. I'm back. I got some regular aluminum screening. I'm going to make a piece the same size as my template. And I'm going to put it in on top of my 1/4 inch hardware cloth. The reason you can't just use something this lightweight is I'm afraid it would flop around all over the place down there. There's obviously a lot of wind coming in there, and the 1/4 inch hardware cloth is going to stiffen it up real good, and then this will just sit right on top of it. So let's cut out a piece of this. What I did was cut a big piece to size, and then I'm just folding the edges down so that I've got my template size. I made a little cut there, a little cut on the other side, and just folding it. I'm not even cutting it very much. I just cut one big piece and I'm folding it. And I'm going to see how that sits when I try to put it up in there. So I tucked it all the way back. They tucked it in just like I did the original one. And I'm just screwing up through the hole on the 1/4-inch hardware cloth. I remember where that was, so I'm just screwing right through the screen into that, through the hardware cloth and into the original fastening positions. Got it? Okay, here you go. You're done. I put in 1, 2, 3 on this side, 3 on the other side. Remember, all this stuff comes out if you're taking your car to the track, because you want to let it breathe. And remember also, what did Froggy tell you? If your car's already overheating, then I wouldn't be putting all this stuff in there. I would find out why is your car overheating. You probably got a marginal radiator, or your water pump, or your thermostat, or hose collapsing, or it could be almost a dozen different things. But find out why your car is getting hot. Fans are not coming on right. But if your car's running cool and you want to keep your radiator and your condenser clean, here's one way to do it. Give it a try. If this helps you, give me a thumbs up, like it. If you want to see more from Froggy, then subscribe to my channel. Froggy out. Have a great one. Hi, I want to give you an update on the temperatures. I just drove the car for about half an hour or so on the freeway and some side streets, and it's about a 70-degree day, sunny in Southern California, pretty typical. And for coolant temperature, I couldn't get it over 180, maybe 186 degrees F. Certainly that's enough to have the thermostat open, but it wasn't really enough to bring the cooling fans on. They're programmed to come on at higher temperatures. So that's the coolant. The oil runs about 20 degrees hotter in normal driving, so I was at 205, 204, 207, 205 on the oil, and the oil stays a little more consistent than the coolant. Now when I got home, I parked it in the garage, I put on the AC. No, I didn't put on the AC. I parked it in the garage and I let it run to try and get the coolant temperatures to come up, because parked in the garage with no air flowing and so on, it should. And it did. They got up to 194, and then the cooling fan, the low-speed cooling fan came on, and it dropped it down to about 187, which is normal. That's how the fan is supposed to work. So really, for a proper functioning cooling system, there's no restriction at all with the screens that I put on there. As I said, though, if you've got a borderline overheating situation, I wouldn't do this modification. Okay? Well, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.